That is live. I was waiting for some technical problems there because where I was getting like technical problems. Dakota, are you there? No, I think he's froze. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with myself, Russ. Thank you very much for coming. We'll wait for my co-host to come back from beyond the veil. It's
Absolutely.
it's this solar storm. We've been having problems yesterday, and I tried to go live today, and the problems we've had. He's coming in the news, so I'll wait for him before I start. Oh, he's back again. But anyway, Michelle, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've been really looking forward to meeting you again. Because the last time I met you was on Emerald Isles Paranormal Researchers with
Yes.
Jenny.
Yes.
Yes, and Jenny's got an absolutely amazing channel. She really has, and
Yes, she
she
does.
puts a lot of work. Yeah, she puts a lot of work in it. Where were you? Out of curiosity, how was the alien visit? You've been away for 6 months. We
Now
can't
we
hear
have
you.
no sound.
We'll blame the solar, whatever it is, the
We
problems
might
we've
as
got.
well.
In.
We got to use it while we
Yeah,
can.
yeah, we might as well just. So, Michelle, can you tell us a wee bit about yourself?
Well, let's see. I am a demonologist and
Mm,
lay exorcist. So people understand I just don't go running into houses, with a cross and say, demons be gone. I
yeah,
actually, I help in the process of all
yeah,
that. So I am what you would call a psychic slash trance
yeah.
medium. But I see things a little different. So a lot of people think as soon as they hear that,
Mhm.
that I am able to give them readings and love notes and stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm not that person. So since a child, I see the dead at the time that they died and how. So I don't
that's
get that very angelic look or the beautiful light. I see them every once in a while, but I see them for what happened at that time. So to me, it's like seeing walking zombies, if you want
that's
to put it.
Oh,
It's
that's
terrifying.
that,
And as a child seeing this, you didn't know what was going on.
mm,
And you always just kept thinking you're having nightmares. I had it pushed away for a long time, but when you start doing an awakening, you can't control it. I don't care what people say, it starts hitting you like a freight train. You can try to put all your intentions, all your blockers up, but nope, it doesn't. So
yeah,
I end up having to do my own journey to figure out what did all this mean? Why was I seeing this? Where do I fit in? And that's where studying demonology and different things came in, because to me, they were all demons at this point because I didn't
mhm,
know. So the more I was doing it at places and looking at things like, if you have attachments or you have things around you, I can see those. And if it's a really negative entity, they look like creatures to me. So it's really hard when I'm trying to explain it. It's like,
yeah,
let's say this guy was such a bad person in life that his true self is showing in the next life, right? And so
mhm.
when I'm trying to explain it to someone, like if I was talking to you, Chris and Dakota, and I'm like,
mhm,
oh, this guy behind you, well, he kind of looks like he's got this face like that. And then I would have to say, have you ever seen the movie Alien? That alien creature
mhm,
and that snarly stuff, and everybody's like, well, those
yeah,
are demons, but they're not all demons.
yeah,
And, so trying to explain. So after a while, started going on investigations and helping. And I noticed that these spirits just kept coming at me. They were either angry or
mm,
sad, different things. And then that one moment, it was like, aha, I'm not here to speak for the living. I'm not
yeah,
here to make you feel better because you said hello to a past loved one. I'm actually here to literally speak for spirit.
yeah,
So if it was a woman who was abused or a child who was beaten or died in the well or anything like that because a friend pushed them or whatever the case is, I noticed as I was starting to speak their truth, that's when they would start passing on and moving towards the light and weren't
Yeah.
around anymore. That's when I knew, now I found out who I am. And it's
Yeah.
been a really long time coming. I can tell you, there's been a lot of detours.
I'm going to say, I'm going to say I can imagine being like 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, and waking up and at the bottom of my bed, somebody with half their face missing because they were in a horrific accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose that's frightening for the kid, but really they don't really mean to be frightening. They're just there.
No.
They're looking for help. They want to cross. They're stuck.
Yep. And as a child, you know, the time I grew up in Germany, and trying to tell my Oma and them about this, they're like, no, 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 no. You know what I mean? They're like, you don't talk chills like that. And you're just like, zip, and you don't say nothing. So
Yeah. Just saying to Emerald Isles Paranormal, Jenny. Hey, Jenny.
hi, Jenny. Mwah, darling. I
But
adore her.
I will say this, Jenny's had a very sad day today. It was her mum's funeral today, and Jenny is an amazing person. She really is. And that's how I got to meet you, Michelle, through one of
Yes.
our lives. But I'm going to say, I mean, about the alien looking creatures, the what you call it, the demonic creatures, right?
Yeah, I guess yeah.
I see this is, yeah, I know some people that are into the exorcism and stuff like that, and some of them have told me about twisted souls, like humans that have became, they're like actually worse than demons because they've got kind of more power. Have you ever encountered any of them?
Yeah. So when you're working, and that's why it's a very fine line, and you have to be really careful, especially when you're working like with a church or something, about what is a demon, what isn't a demon. Because when your soul was very dark in life, it's going to stay dark in the afterlife. And so what it does is it gives you your true, it took your mask off. This is the true you. This is what you look like. Whether it's got features that could be, you know, very demonic looking and stuff, but it's showing what you were really in life. And so you become this nasty, I call them like the black blob creatures. And, you know, of course, they still try to be mean in the afterlife, you know, puffing up, trying to make themselves bigger than what they ever were. A lot of them can get physical, and they will. But at the same time, you know, if you have your true intentions of what you're there for and what you're doing, yes, I will tell you, I am scared to death. I just don't walk in, you know, with armor, like, you know, in Mortal Kombat. But, you know, right?
Yeah, you just about
But you got to have that kind of armor on you when you're walking in, because as soon as it knows one little weakness from you, it's going straight for that. And when it hits it, it is hard to come right back out. It really is. So,
Dakota, would you like to ask some questions? Because I know Dakota's actually had experience with this type of stuff.
Yeah, and most people never speak to me again if I go to share those stories.
You can share them.
Blame
You'll be fine.
So, Michelle, with obviously with the last few years, all this insanity that's coming out, have you noticed that more people seem to be awakening to that side of the paranormal? I can't talk today. My God.
It's the solar. Blame it on the solar
Ready?
storm. Will it not?
So I'm gonna really agree with you. So here's the thing. And it's crazy you say that, because I just had a conversation with some friends. Everybody's going through awakenings of some sort. Everybody's always noticed they've been kind of a sensitive or empathic, but they've noticed that it's like increased. It's not like I'm just empathic, but I'm empathic now. And sometimes I'm seeing visions, whether it's in dream state or meditation. But what we're missing, there's a point. It was always stated, you know, when we talk of a second coming or, you know, and things like that, It is bringing all those people together. We're supposed to be as one. But because of social media, of TV and all that,
Mhm.
everybody's 5 minutes of fame. So what is supposed to be built and we're supposed to help go to this next phase, people are forgetting it. And so, you're finding out certain people are meeting certain people in the most oddest ways of like, God,
Mhm.
I met you here and,
Mhm.
we're both thousands of miles away. What's going on?
Mhm.
But there's a reason we all meet. Does it mean it'll be
Yes.
right away? Maybe not, because everybody has a place, just like on a chessboard. We all
Mhm.
have a place, and we all are going to have to move because we all are going to have to do something together. And then until we get all these 5 minutes of famers out of the way, we'll know exactly who that group is. And I know that sounds harsh, but that's something I really strongly believe because there are certain people come together to help each other because there's always that one missing link. I can't do it by myself.
Yeah.
I would need to have a
Mhm.
different type of medium here, or I might need to have someone doing something different here. And I really believe you hear the power of three, but I think it's
Yes.
more the power of more than just three.
I do believe everything's planned. See, before you come here, I do believe this is just like a big TV show.
Right?
Wherever that, yeah, I do believe right now somewhere lost loved ones, people that I once knew hundreds and hundreds of years ago are probably watching us right now. I
Yeah.
do believe that before we came here, we all met up and we're right. You'll be coming on my show. Me and Dakota will start a show together. But I do
Yeah.
believe everything's been arranged, even for the birth to the death.
Mhm.
I've even picked my death, but obviously I don't know it yet. So
Absolutely.
everything's planned, and I do think people come in at the certain moment to help with certain situations. Like say
Yeah.
an extreme haunting, for instance, if there's a house that had like a demonic attachment, and the
Yes.
person goes there, and then somebody appears and they seem to help you, but you're like, oh, that's spooky. How did that person know that? Because I think it's all planned out.
Yeah, and
It
I
really
believe
is.
so. And I think it's all been played once before. Because if you
Yes.
notice a lot of people, there's more and more people coming around that have that deja vu feeling.
Hmm.
And it's like it's
Mhm.
becoming more and more. It's not, before it was like every once in a while somebody would get it. Now it almost seems like people are saying, every other day they're getting a deja vu. And it's like, okay, so are the dimensions opening up? Are we crisscrossing with what we've already done, or are we talking about, fractured souls and things are happening, So there's something in play right now. I strongly feel that.
I do believe with like people out there like yourself and like Dakota and other kind of like people that have got the gifts. I do believe you can like basically tell the future. I slightly, but there's been a few things that's happened to me that I just can't explain. There's been things I've seen something happen, I've dreamt about it, and then a couple of days later it's happened. The exact same thing. And you wonder to yourself, was that was that deja vu, or did you just see into the future slightly? I've always wondered about that.
Yeah. Or it could be a reoccurrence. It could be something you've already done and you're doing, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? And it goes in that time warp.
yeah, yeah. Dakota?
So, kind of going back to the how the spirits are going to manifest with you. Say you have a subject where they were not necessarily evil, but they were clearly very mentally ill in some manner. Those spirits go to manifest for you.
Those actually manifest more. A lot of them manifest more in a childlike version for me. So
Mm,
depending on what that stability was, because there's a lot of times, I'm like, yeah, you're acting like that childlike, you get that feeling,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, who are you really? And then you can see it where it starts changing a form of that person. And I think it goes with what type of mental illness was there. We talk a lot about depression and things like that.
Mhm.
So, they're like, a lot of people say they see apparitions that are just crying. Well, when I see those, even if they have taken their own life, I see them almost back in that childlike, needing to be held.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that piece is missing. So that's how I kind of see them. And that's why when people say, well, those types of people go straight to hell. No, 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 and no. Because we're not there. We do not know who or what they talked to prior of going. But here's the thing, a lot of them are stuck because in life they didn't feel like they were worth enough. In the afterlife, they're feeling the same way. So then
Yeah.
now they're back into that childlike of trying to find that void that was missing somewhere in that pattern before they can be moved on. And they are the hardest spirits to move on.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, suicide's a terrible, terrible thing. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's I've known a lot of mediums over the years, and they've told me you're here to learn, and if you and guys up in the top corner, you can see a thing you can scan with your phone. If you're feeling suicidal, whatever, please scan that, and it'll help you. Look, I've met a lot of like mediums over the years, and some of them are amazing. Some of them have told me like, you commit suicide, you're going to have to try again. You're going to have to come back again. And some of them are stuck there, like you say, Michelle. Some of them they don't even know that they're dead. They're maybe like replaying standing on that building over and over and over, or like standing in front of the train over and over and over. What do you do when you come across somebody like that, with like somebody that's stuck? How do you help them out of that like repeating loop?
Well, that's when you're trying to see, is it, a residual that is
Hmm.
intelligent? And you
Yeah.
have to you see it because you do have a lot of residuals that, like you said, could be
Hmm.
standing and just redoing it over and over,
Hmm.
but there's no way of that communication. And those are really hard. I mean, there's just nothing you can do, or let's put it, I can't do because I have not been able to figure it out. But when you find there's some intelligence there, it is actually working small process. Did you know that when some folks actually take their life, there is almost 75% of those people last minute change their mind, but it's too
Yes.
late?
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
so when you're getting with that, that's like those are the ones you're seeing stuck. And those are
Yeah.
the ones that you're trying to help. And those you can normally help. Again, it takes a little bit longer because of them still being in a confusion of, did this happen? Did this not happen? What happened? Kind of state. And then you think of the people who are still alive. Some are angry, some are sad, but a lot of times people are more angry. And so that spirit already then feels guilt in the afterlife because look how I
Yeah.
made everyone feel. So you have to break down in those barriers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've heard stories about. I know I'm lucky to know police officers and stuff like that, and how they've told me they've been to a lot of like suicides, and how they've been to some where people have went to like throw themselves off a building,
Oh,
changed their mind, but then fell. They've
yeah,
actually
Mhm.
and you can see them in the video. You can see them holding on because they've changed their mind, but they just fall after that.
yeah,
And then it makes you wonder that poor soul's probably wondering about, thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do now? Looking for someone to help them.
yeah. And you think about that. So then,
Mhm.
like, think of spirits that are from the early 1700s, 1600s, 1800s. Some of the deaths back in those years
Yeah.
were so horrific.
Hmm.
Because you think about it, there was definitely probably cancer out there. You had
Yes.
scarlet fever, you had all
Mhm.
sorts of diseases that there was nothing for them. So those tragic deaths actually form that same type of spirit in the afterlife too, you know.
Yeah.
So, you kind of look at the two together of and when you're think about what they're seeing from us. They see a light, but they're confused of who are you talking to me? I know maybe you can help me, but they don't
Hmm.
understand that, I was in childbirth and I died. I never got to see my child. So you have a weeping mother waiting for her child in a place that should not be her home anymore. She should move on to be able to see her child. And so that's when, when you're doing and you have abilities, when you're trying to work with spirit, people don't understand. It's not just like me talking to you. You got to remember they're stuck in their time when they've passed, that's their time. That's it. So
Yeah.
for me as a stranger telling her your child is waiting for you, go to the light and stuff, they're still freaked out, like, okay, why are you doing this? Where's my child? And that's why
Yeah.
I said I don't talk for the living. And it's harder
So,
because when I do talk for the dead and try to tell their story, people are looking at me like, have you been smoking crack? So
yeah, I mean,
Yep.
it's like, I mean, it must be horrendous for a soul to be lost. I mean, I hope I never end up lost, but obviously with my knowledge of the afterlife, I'll be looking for the light. That's my mission, to go to the light. But there will be people out there that didn't believe in religion and they didn't believe in the afterlife, and they'll see the light and they'll be kind of afraid of it, because then they'll think, oh, because I done this bad thing, the Bible says I'll be burning in the pits of hell for eternity. Let's face it, the Bible does say that you'll be burning in
it
the pits of
does.
hell.
It does.
Yeah, and they'll be like, I
But
could just
here's
hang
the
about this
thing.
hospital. Oh, yeah.
People have to remember the Bible was written by man.
Yes.
It was used to scare people into religion,
Mm-hmm.
to keep the masses controlled. So no matter what your faith base is, as long as you hold on to that, then your light will be something different. Not everybody has. When you listen to people who have near-death experiences, they all say they start seeing the white light, but then the light
Yes.
changes colors and does different things for everybody who has a near-death experience. So I believe everybody's light is different, because those
Yes.
lights will actually catch your spirit of feelings, smells, touches that you recognize, so you will follow it.
See, I find that interesting, because I'm lucky to know a few hospice people that work in hospice nurses. But I lost my mother about maybe 2.5 months ago to cancer. But it was quite interesting, actually, because there was a day before she died. The day before she died, a couple of days before she died, she says to me, she said, "Oh, they're all here," and I'm looking around about. I'm just using her bed, and I'm like, nothing. But I can feel that this weird energy in the room.
Yes.
And it's like I said to somebody about it. I think it was Lisa Fry, one of her friends. I says, the room felt like Piccadilly train station. It felt like a train station. It felt like there was people coming in everywhere. I think there was about 40 or 50 people. That's what it felt like. And then she said something to me, which I found extremely interesting. It wasn't just me, it was my uncle, her brother at the time. They're coming to take me to the pictures tonight.
Yep.
She passed away the next morning. And I find that interesting, because I've heard stories about that. So it makes you wonder, like how you said, they take you to make you happy. So they maybe said, listen, you're in quite a bad way and you're in a lot of pain, but we're going to take you to the pictures. Would you like to come to the pictures? But really, they're
Yeah.
taking them to the afterlife.
Because at that stage, your soul is already slowly leaving you.
Yes.
And so, we're just using that mind. So, like I said, the lights or the feelings are all different, because, like if you do see your brother or your mother or grandmother, you're not going to see them as the people who have passed, but you're going to be like you're reunited, and your brain will actually take you there. And that's when you see people start relaxing and closing their eyes, because now they're ready to go. And it becomes a peaceful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've witnessed it with a few people, and I've had a few people telling me stories about how they've went into the hospital room, and the woman or the man's pointing into the corner saying, "Oh, my brother's here," and everybody's looking, but there's nothing there. And he's coming to take me tonight. And then that night, the cross, they die. And it makes you, we're all going to experience that. I know we're all going to experience Dakota, me, you, Michelle, we're all going to
Absolutely.
get and experience that in the end. But I want to jump for this to the demonic kind of side. I mean,
Yeah.
what would you say was the worst case you've ever had?
Oh, you had to go there, huh?
I had to
Well,
go there. I couldn't help myself.
Oh yeah, of course he does.
No, well,
so I was asked to come in on a case and spoke to this person, and this person was telling me that she had lost her fiance and she misses him. He took his own life, and she ended up going out to kind of some trees, some meadows, and she was calling upon him, and she ended up making love to him. She could feel him. He was inside. He was taking care of her, everything. And that she needed to go with him. And she goes, but as things went on, it was getting darker. So we knew something was going on. She had gone to talk to other people, and they kept saying, he's waiting for you. Not in the sense that she needed to take her life or anything, but just saying he's waiting for you. And, it just kept going on. The churches did want to get involved, but here's the thing. Because of mental illness, the churches now have to have all sorts of medical records, things like that, to make sure before we go in to do an exorcist. She would call me sometimes really angry. Other times she was crying. She was saying every song on the radio, anything like that, would constantly, it was the demons talking to her, saying how bad she was, things like that. Wow. This was a girl that had so much life in her. Beautiful, beautiful. Was keeping herself locked up. And I kept trying to get someone there. She would get mad at me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I need this and this. She gave permission for the doctor, the psychiatric evaluation, but that doctor would never call us back. And she got a hold of me one day, and she goes, I don't know if I should still believe in Jesus. But she goes, but didn't Jesus die on the cross for all our sins and stuff? And I go, well, I believe that. What did you believe? Just kept trying to talk to her.
Yeah.
After she did that last text, she ended up taking her life because the demons brought her to it. She couldn't handle it anymore. The voices, everything. She had called me one time. I was even on FaceTime with her, trying to talk to her. And I had her parking at a store parking lot under a light. And she was going to travel hours around and everything else trying to find, because she was that desperate, and said it. But she had called something in. And you could see it, or the darkness around her, and you could see the stuff, but we couldn't get the people there. We tried prayers, and of course, here's the thing. I lost her, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Her children lost her. Her parents lost her. And I went pretty dark, down deep, because I blame myself. Could I have done something else? Could I have done this? And my hands were tied. People, some people who knew her think I don't know, but it was something that will always stick with me, because you're fighting for somebody's life. And I was trying to keep her. She was weak enough that I couldn't get enough fight out of her, and trying to work with her. And I knew by the time I got her, she was already on that path. And I was just praying that we could stop it, but we couldn't. Or I couldn't. I don't. So it was a bad case. And it still haunts me today.
What do you think happened to her soul? Do you think she crossed, or do you think she's lost? Or
I can honestly say I don't know. I can honestly say I haven't ran into her spirit. I do know that when I found out she passed, I fell to my knees, literally.
Oh God.
And I prayed so hard. I've never prayed so hard, with tears and screams to make sure that she's lifted up and taken care of because she shouldn't hurt anymore. So
That's terrible.
yeah, it's there you go. I really
It's
don't talk about this a lot.
that's quite intense actually. I hope she is. I hope she's in the afterlife. I hope she's with her relatives, and I hope the angels are looking after her. I just want to, for a quick second, just bring up something that Jenny said about her mum. Her mum was reaching for the ceiling and calling her sister and dad's name. That's beautiful. That just shows you that's.
That
I
means
had to bring that
that
up there
is
because that's
beautiful because
just
the family was there to
yeah.
help take her through that journey for her next journey in the afterlife. That's absolutely beautiful.
It is. It really is. See, I've heard stories about demons and that, and I hope in my career and stuff like that, and the paranormal that I never run into one. I know Dakota. He's experienced Dakota. Do you want to talk about it a wee bit?
I just find it funny that my signal's starting to drop right as she's telling that story.
Yeah.
The case where I've lost someone, and it was shortly after I told him to get his guard up because that thing jumped me and attacked me in my own bedroom. And mind you, I'm 6'7", close to this thing lifted me like I was nothing.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that one got bad.
Huh. The bad thing is, luckily I was able to call on some people and say, how do you deal with this? Is it going to be my last one? Probably not. But when somebody's putting their life in your hands because they have nowhere else to go, I never knew how deep that actually gets to you. The nightmares and everything after, I mean, I don't wish upon anyone, but then you start thinking of, like your doctors and stuff, the people who, hold your life in their hands. It's pretty tough.
Oh, it is. I still get nightmares from it, and it gets to the point where people are feeling like they have to check on me because they hear me start screaming out for the people I lost.
Oh,
Wow.
I sleep. It's even gotten to the point where I have my little niece laying with me in bed. I have to physically take her out of bed and put her somewhere else because I would not trust me go start swinging and accidentally knock her out. And she's barely 5 months old, so
yeah, no. But the thing is, she's least safe, in that aspect. And a lot of people don't understand when demons start attacking, they attack towards the family first. Because when they start making like yourself or myself weak, it's easier to get to us. And so a lot of people are always saying, that's why I always say you have infestation first. It's going to the weakest person.
Yeah.
And then it's going to do your family members or people you love or people who are close to you. Because just like this lovely lady, it wasn't just her. It started with her children. She had a young son who was trying to commit suicide all the time that had to go to the hospital. Different little things were happening that started breaking her down because she was going to be the end target. But when you're talking about a mother or a father who loves their family, with everything that will go to war for them, you have to start messing with them enough to break them down to get that end, because that's how the isolation starts. And that's the only way oppression will get on you, and I did all mine, back and forth with her. And it was to the point where I'm just like, I didn't even know what to say anymore. It got to the point that everything was fumbling and stuff. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. And I'm raising my hands up and, I'm doing this by myself in my room because I don't want anybody to see how it's tearing me up because I'm watching her family get tore up. and it
Yeah.
always will hit those families first.
Yeah.
So
It's
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 not
quite
it's not a joke.
intense. It's a very real thing for people that are watching this and you don't believe in demons and you mess with like stuff. I highly suggest the Ouija board and is it the spirit board? Did you hear that? Yeah, I heard like a woman scream.
That little whistle.
Did you hear that?
Was that me taking a breath, going,
No, no.
okay?
It was some. It was
It
like
was like a
a.
Oh yeah,
It was.
I didn't do that.
I think it was quite interesting because I was going to say, can I ask you something? See, when you're walking down the road or that, do you ever notice anybody with an attachment on them when you're just walking along?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And you kind of want to go up there and say, hey, we need to talk, but
Hmm.
I think they would have you committed. It's kind of like,
Yeah,
just like sensitives and empaths, when they meet somebody, they could tell by their energy if they even want to continue talking to them. That's kind of like me. I can walk around, and you got to remember, a lot
hmm,
of people have manifested their own demons. So there's times, so when I see them like attached to them, I see them like an octopus tentacles like stuck on them, and you could just see it
yeah,
pulsating like it's just sucking the life out of them. And
mm-hmm.
yeah, it's disgusting. And that's why I say, talking about being a demonologist or an exorcist, the stuff is not a joke. You have to take it serious, because there's so many
yeah,
places that everybody thinks everything is just beautiful unicorns and fairies and all that. You've
yeah,
got to make sure you understand, if there's light, there's dark. There's always a balance, but right now it's been tilted, and the dark is a little bit more over than the light. And you can see that just what's happening in the world right now. So there's been a little bit of a tilt, and somehow that balance has got to come back. Your listeners are going to think I'm just damn crazy.
it's it's an interesting thing
Compared to some of
because
the other people we've had on this show.
I've always I've heard this happen to Dakota because I know it has happened to you, Dakota. You've been followed home. I mean, do the demons ever get like pissed off with you? I think, oh, she exercised one of your chums off of somebody we were after, and I'm going home with her, and I'm going to cause havoc in her house. Did they ever do that to you?
Well, I can honestly say, knock on wood, I don't have it in my house. I have made my house a fortress from the outside.
Yeah.
I have, because I used metals. I used asafoetida mixture around my house outside. So I've made it a
Hmm.
fortress. This is my safe space. So nothing can
Yeah.
come in. Luckily, not even spirits. I've had spirits come by me before in the house, but nothing
Yeah.
to that extent. Does it mean, can it ever happen? Absolutely, it can. But my due diligence of always trying, no, no, no. I mean, but I can't say that I don't get affected by it, because
Yeah.
I know it has changed my moods, um, or things come out of my mouth, or things happen to me. I'm like, wait a minute, this is not me, and
Yeah.
I try to stay very vigilant of cleansing myself continuously,
Yeah.
blessing myself, the things I use, because I do have people that do help me with a lot of this stuff. And so
Hmm.
I always have to think too, I got to make sure I'm safe for them to be safe. And I think that kind of helps me balance it, because even your priests,
Yeah.
they will still get their butt kicked too. I mean,
Oh
I've got
yeah.
butt kicked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Dakota, are you okay?
I think he's
I
picking
keep
something up.
hearing stuff and getting some interference.
Hmm.
So
I keep hearing voices every now and again.
You're welcome.
It happens a lot. It happens a lot in this show. It really does happen a lot. And the demonics out there, they're probably standing outside your gate. They're now waiting on you leaving. They're probably just waiting on you. Because you
Me?
think about it, you probably you Dakota, because I know Dakota's had that experience too. I mean, they will get to the point where they'll get to your house and they'll be like, "Damn, we can't get in there because it's a fortress, basically, right? We'll just wait and they're coming out." And because if you think about it, demons, they're kind of, I mean, there's hierarchies of demons, isn't there? I mean, there's like the lower
Absolutely.
levels and then it goes up. So, what would you say was the highest level one you've ever encountered? Like the general of them?
Well, you have your archdemons, and your
Yes.
archdemons are like your archangels, but these archdemons were never angels. And you have to make sure you remember that, because you do have
Mhm.
demons that used to be angels that were fallen.
Yeah.
But you also have straight demons that actually, were born by the devil, anew, all of them. And they're on the same
Mhm.
level as what they would call like Lilith and them.
Mm.
So there was different names given to some of them depending on what they did. But these archdemons, these are, I mean, older than time. This is not just
Yeah,
something
yeah.
if I know of one of those, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to try to fight it, because they're able to withstand holy water. They can sit and recite the Lord's Prayer with you
Wow.
because of the strength. So you think about it, just like Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel, you have those guys you have the same
Mhm.
level. Then you have your medium ones who are kind of like your soldiers, your little havoc makers, that try
Mhm.
to bring you to that wrong turn on the crossroads. Then you got your little minions. Those are the ones that, want to just wreak havoc and can't do much of nothing. So, your middle ones are the ones that will come up here and try to get people to follow the devil, give them what they
Yeah.
want so they can grab them and pull them down. That's kind of how they're put, but you got to remember, these are demons that were demons and never an angel. And the ones that used to be angels are actually even more powerful because of that angelic form they had
Yeah.
to begin with.
What? There's some weird
Okay, I don't
voices
know what's
coming
going
through.
on with Dakota, but as Dakota is
Mhm.
going, I'm seeing this black thing come around him, and I'm like starting to sweat. Do you see my armpits? Look, it's like going, hey, hot
There's
in
something
here.
about. There's something
No,
about.
yeah,
I can
I'm
sense it.
literally was listening to what sounded like a male voice, just kind of commenting on everything you're saying. Like, yep, she's right, she's good, she knows what she's talking about, type of stuff. Now I'm just like, wait, I don't know that one. That's a new one.
I mean, see the angelics. See the angelics, like the angels, for instance, like Archangel Michael and Gabriel and all the other ones. I mean, Raphael and stuff like that. Do you ever see them? What did they actually look like to you? What did they look like?
So I've never actually seen the face of the angels,
Mhm.
but I have felt their wings. I know that sounds really
Right.
crazy, but it's almost like I can hear a flutter, the flutter kind of thing,
Yeah.
but it kind of gives a wave. I can feel it like waving in. And there is an actual, different prayers you can do to bring them down.
Yeah.
And when we're just looking up in the sky going, I call on you, Michael, to come down. Michael's not just going to jump down and say, okay, what's up? That has to be that intention. I need the army here. Michael
Yeah.
doesn't do it on his own. And if you're really looking for someone that has some power that can actually get through a demon, you're going to call on Metatron.
Mhm.
And the reason you
Yeah.
would call on
Heard
Metatron
that.
is you got to remember, human, prophet, knew what he was writing of God's words. And that's how he became an archangel. So now he knows how to really get in there. So, each angel has wisdom and you've got, of course, your soldier and things like that. The same type of thing, just like the Bible stated, God had told the devil, you can play with all these humans. You can throw them around like rag dolls. You can torment them all you want. but you can never have their soul unless they are willing it, giving it to you. And that's where all these torments go.
It's just something popped into my head, and I don't know where it's came from. But see how you say like humans obviously became prophets and became an archangel. Can it work the other way? Because
Absolutely.
somebody's so evil
Yep.
that, let's just say, like one of the Nazis for Auschwitz, right? Say they enjoyed doing their job,
Yeah,
right? And even in death, they enjoyed hurting people, right? Could they become demon? Could they become get a
absolutely.
job
They
for Satan
become
kind of
that.
thing?
Yep. There are a thing of like pulling people to hell. And you got to
Yeah,
remember, so like as I look at heaven and hell, I don't think it's just one vast open area where we're all just hanging out, eating cherries off the cherry trees. You know, heaven and hell are what we have them. My heaven will be different than your heaven, or my hell would be different than Dakota's hell. Does that
yeah,
make sense? But also, if you do the bidding for the devil, if you say, I am one of your soldiers, then you would become demon with them as the little
yeah.
minions, not just a soul that's trapped in hell. So there's two sides of that.
Yeah. See, I have heard that whatever you believe in when you die, whatever you want to see, that's what you get to see. Like, let's take what's that film with Robbie Williams? Was it When Dreams Come True? He was an artist and he liked beautiful scenery and stuff like that, right? So I'm the kind of same. I want to see mountains and stuff, so that's what I'll see. Whereas your hell, what your worst fear is, that's what you'll go if you go to hell.
That's right.
Basically,
Like I said, everybody's going to have their difference of heaven and hells of whatever it is. It's just going to be an abyss of an open area of what is yours, what is your heaven,
yeah,
what is your hell, or are you going to be stuck now? I believe we're in purgatory right now. I think this is everybody's purgatory. I don't believe
yeah,
that we're going to be stuck in one. I believe we're in it now, and these are the decisions we make. And that's why I think people with abilities, we're supposed to open up, because we are supposed to build an army to go the right way, not the wrong
yes,
way.
I
Aleister
totally
Crowley
agree.
did all that. Aleister
Yeah,
Crowley did the bidding for the devil. He was the one that actually wanted to work with the Nazis to open that encampment of bringing people and doing that type of stuff. So he was writing the words and the bidding for the devil. So Aleister Crowley, I would say, would be that demon. And I think because of that, if you watch like that show Supernatural,
yeah,
their demon was called Aleister Crowley, because he did the bidding for the devil, as Metatron actually did the prophet for the heavens.
Dakota. Dakota's been. I mean, Dakota's been into a lot of dark stuff. Dakota's done a lot of like working with certain entities out there. You know who I'm talking about, Dakota. If you want to mention them, you can. I'm looking at them.
Dude, I'm already feeling like something's trying to get up my neck, but
yeah.
So,
I mean, look, there's a lot of dark things out there, right? I mean, there's a lot of these entities out there. Like, I'm just going to say it, like the Heartman, for instance, right? That people believe in and stuff like that. I've had a few weird experiences with that situation, really weird experiences. But I do believe, as I say at the start of the show, we're here, everything's planned. And I do believe that, see how everything's planned? I do believe that coming in to encounter like demonics and stuff like that was planned. It was planned. And I do believe what you say, Michelle. I think it's everything's just planned in a kind of big way, and and I do think we're here to help people. Like, see, like you, Michelle, you're here to help people. So is Dakota. People with like gifts, like mediumship, or they can do stuff in the paranormal. I feel that you're here to help people and try and make the world a better place.
And I believe that too. And sometimes I also believe, they think that, again, a lot of it being man written, and that's not like, it's just a statement that
Yeah,
I don't, yes, I go with the priest or I talk to the priest. Hey, Michelle, can you see, is there something dark here, this and that? And that's
yeah,
how I kind of help. But at the same time, do the deliverance rites and stuff? I could. And I believe if
yeah,
your intentions are right, you could do it. But I let the church do that piece. I let those exorcists do
yeah,
that piece, and I'm there to guide or be with them. Does that make sense?
yes,
So, it's really important that people understand I'm not out there just running around like the Pope's exorcist on a little moped, you know,
yeah.
unless you
He likes
just
his whiskey tea. He likes.
yeah. But but there are people like myself, like Dakota, and there's many more, like the
Mhm.
wonderful John Zaffis. We were
Yes,
brought to do this kind of work, but not brought to do it by ourselves. We're just a little piece to help continue guiding of, okay, they can see the darkness. They can feel what this darkness is. They know this wasn't human spirit. This is something else. Now we know which way to go. And that's what, people have to understand. We are kind of that beacon. We are that torch helping, just like Akate. She has a torch to be able to go down to the underworld.
yes.
That's us.
Mm-hmm.
Do
I
we
mean,
like it?
I
Maybe not
mean,
so much, but
I mean, if you suppose in this day and age, demonic attachments and stuff must be worse than it was, I would say, pre-60s, before 60s, because then you had a lot of people going to the church. They didn't have technology, they didn't have Facebook, you didn't have all this kind of stuff, and a lot of people went every Sunday, and everybody went to the church, and it was a lot of people were more religious then. I will say that a lot of people, the younger people, were more religious then. But now I think there's more demonic attachments, and because people are leaving the church and using technology.
well, and that's the
And
thing. I don't think it's just church, because church, you got to
yeah,
remember, is words.
yeah,
And it's
it's
how do
words. You
you
can
how do
worship
you
God
take
anywhere you want.
those?
Hmm.
But like you said, back in the 50s, 60s, without all this
Hmm.
stuff, we were also raised, even if you didn't go to church, there
Raised.
was always respect.
Yes.
You
Hmm.
always cared for somebody else. We always helped people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You've seen
Hmm.
elderly, you would actually respect them. You wouldn't go up and try to beat them up and steal their,
Yes.
yes, you did have your bad people back then too. It just wasn't
Yeah.
all over the internet. But
Yeah.
kids were a little different. Now, kids are being babysat by iPads, and whatever is going through, think of all
Yeah.
those messages going in their brains,
Oh
so
yeah.
we're forming something without realizing what we're doing before, and then it's going to get too late.
Oh, you just need to jump onto like computer games. I mean, yes, some of them are designed for like 18-year
Yeah,
olds, but somehow there's 9-year olds and 8-year olds get to play them. And
absolutely.
that's extreme
Mm-hmm.
extreme violence, like war, for instance, people getting parts blown off them and stuff like that. They think this is great. They think this is absolutely brilliant. And then they maybe let a wee bit of their cell go, and years goes past, they might get an attachment because they start getting into this kind of. I mean, a couple of years ago, I was walking through my graveyard on a beautiful summer's day, and there was kids with a Ouija board on top of one of the tombs, and I was like, "You shouldn't do stuff like that, guys. Honestly, I'll be fine." And I just kept going. I mean, that's how people get attachment. They might not notice it now, but maybe later on, maybe when they're maybe 30, 40 years old, and they
Yeah,
start like using drugs and going down a bad path, maybe alcoholism, it's maybe because something's attached itself to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the one thing we all have to do, it's harder and harder seeing people take responsibility for themselves. We will find every excuse to blame everything and anything around us, instead of looking in the mirror at ourselves going, you know what?
Yeah.
You did this. Let's change it. Or even looking in the mirror and saying, you know what? You're good enough. You've got this. Who cares what people
Yes.
think? But we are so triggered now that does everybody like you? What do people think of you? What are they saying
Yeah.
about you? And we end up
Mhm.
losing ourselves. When we lose ourselves, that's when you got that weak spot for something to attach to you. And then with all the extras that you have, you're feeding it, and now you're creating your own demon. And those are harder to
Yeah.
get rid of because it's yours. And so trying to help people after that trauma of an exorcism, you're trying to bring them back to say, you know what? This could have been why this happened, but I'm not doing that. I love myself. I love this. I can do
Yes.
this. And I am worth everything. That is
Yes.
hard for people to do and look in the mirror and really say they love themselves because not everybody can do it
Yes.
at all.
Mhm.
You're right.
Very
100%.
true. Very
So we've
true.
got 4 minutes left of the show. Dakota, would you like to ask anything before the end?
Oh, so many questions, so little time.
I know. We need to get you back again for a longer show.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, kind of going back to Metatron, there's a lot of specifics that goes into this specific case, but there's this couple. They both seem to possess some sort of psychic ability. When in reference to each other, they hear something trying to communicate with them about their significant other, but for some reason, the name Enoch always manages to come up. Do you know any ideas on what that could be?
I think
Short,
so.
right?
No. So it's just because you kind of broke up a little bit. So you got a couple that both have abilities, and something tries to communicate to them about the other one, but it's always something about the Book of Enoch. Is that
Mhm.
correct?
Something about the name Enoch always seems to comes up.
Well, that's crazy because the first thing popped in my head is the Book of Enoch, which was supposedly the first Bible, where Lilith was there, not Eve. So that could be something they might want to just tread lightly on, but kind of take notes. So whatever they're hearing, like journal it just to kind of see. Because again, the Book of Enoch was the first Bible.
Yeah.
And it had a different version of how things went. And then, of course, if you look at the Book of Enoch and you look at the Bible, they kind of took some of it out and mixed it together. If you listen to it. So Lilith got completely written out and they put Eve because Lilith wasn't obedient. She wanted to be Adam. So now the Book of Enoch is looked upon more of a darker side of the book per se, but not all of it's dark. But because it's driven mainly on stories of Lilith, I kind of be careful with that. Just trying to say. But if you look at all of them, yeah, because you look at the Quran, you look at Book of Enoch, you look at the Bible, and you kind of compare all of them together, you can see there's a lot of stuff that kind of matches up. You can also look at, paganism, how they've grabbed some of the stuff, the Catholics took it so they could bring those people in. So the Bible itself is like a mishmash of a big soup. And they just put it in places to say, how can we put it in places so it makes sense? Am I saying some of those words aren't from Jesus, God, or anybody? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is from when they all were around to where we're at now, that book has been in publication a couple of times. So always read and take what comes here because you know what's going to be real for you.
It's a very interesting read, let me put it that way, because I've got a copy of it. Because the reason you said that, because I can see it in my bookshelf over there when I go like that.
Yeah. So if you look at the Book of Enoch in the Old Testament, go with those two, and then look at the New Testament. Woo!
Yeah.
It's pretty spicy.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm going to put it that way. It's interesting. It really is.
It is.
So, Michelle, where can people find you? This is your plugging moment. Where can we all find you?
They could actually follow me on Facebook. I put
Right.
everything out there. This way, if I do any tours or anything like that, they would see it. So if you just look me up, you can follow me. It's Michelle Roos. And I kind of keep everything right there so people can just go and, check me out. So,
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Check Michelle Roos out and click on that link. You'll be getting loads of friend requests tonight.
bing, 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 bing. But that's okay. That's
I
okay.
know.
Yeah.
Well, I'll need to get you back again. We'll need to get you back again for a longer show because I think there's a lot of subjects that we could talk about. And Dakota, I know, has got a lot of questions for you. And an awful lot of
Absolutely. I would
questions
love
for
that.
Mm.
I would love that.
I'd just like to say from myself, thank you very much for coming on. And I would like to say thank you to Jenny Tay for introducing me to you. So
Yes.
thank you very much, Jenny.
Mhm.
Dakota, would you? My good
No,
man.
I just say thank you for coming on. This was definitely an interesting show, but I do know you need to be getting out of here soon.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we'll just
Yeah.
go ahead and sign off for tonight. Much
Catch
love.
you all,
Take
everybody.
care.
See you, everybody. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well,
Yep.
that was an interesting show yesterday.
It was a very interesting show yesterday. Michelle is an amazing person. It really was
Yeah.
an amazing.
Yes, I was quite impressed with how that show turned out. Kudos to
Nice.
Michelle and all that.
Yes, and she says she'll be coming back soon. Hopefully, maybe we can get her back for around about Halloween. Actually, that would be quite a good idea. Hello, Stephanie
That would
Dotson Ken.
that would be an interesting show, without a
You
doubt.
know, you know something. If we could maybe even get Pete on with us at the same time.
Oh, would you just get the hint? Pete is just not that into you.
Come on, I'm trying to get him on for Halloween. Come on, did you see the story that he told the other night on Twitter or X or
I'm
whatever
not
it's called?
sitting around
Oh
fucking
man,
around on.
I actually thought it was real until I read the last bit. It's scary as in. He can tell stories. He can really tell some stories. But here's a question for you: do you exist, Dakota? Do you exist?
We're gonna come out the gate with that confession, huh?
Yeah, do you exist? I mean, people, does Dakota exist? Or is it a figment of your imagination? Because he was
No,
telling us something. Where you go?
No, I'm here to come forward. It's time because
Yep.
I've learned some very disturbing things,
Yep.
and this
Isn't it about the
information
tentacles?
needs to come about. Nothing to do with tentacles, you sick
Ah.
fuck. I'm shocked. Speaking of which, I'm shocked when Michelle started talking about tentacles, so you weren't smirking.
There you go.
But
Put me off there.
I'm actually a plant by the CIA to deter you all.
Mm-hmm. Want it? Cool.
My
How
home
much
state
do
of
they pay?
Idaho does not exist.
I mean, how is that? Like Dakota was telling us before the show that there's actually a conspiracy that Idaho doesn't exist.
I
Right?
want to. Oh, come on! I was wanting to see how many people actually believe that line. Come on, man! I was putting on my best acting face.
Come on. Roger
Yeah, I didn't
knew
even
the
know this
habit.
was a thing until
Miss
one of the
Money
local.
Penny.
At
Idaho
least
doesn't exist, Miss Money Penny.
I wasn't even aware of this until one of the local radio stations happened to report it. But there's a new conspiracy out there saying that Idaho, the part of the United States where I was born and raised and lived all my life, doesn't exist.
Well, you see, maybe
So
maybe
Australia,
it's
I know how
illusion.
you feel. Damn
That's right, the
earthers.
Flat Earth Society. That's right, the Flat Earth Society has got followers all around the globe. Says that Australia doesn't exist. Knowledge within. Good to see you, my
And
friend.
what about the large following they have in Australia that doesn't exist?
See, that's what I don't get. I was actually I had an argument on TikTok a couple of weeks ago where a flat earther was alive and they were going on about how Australia doesn't exist. And I says to them, I says, well, how come I've got family there? And they says, oh, they're plants, they're not really, they don't exist. And I says, aye, but they've came to weddings and funerals and stuff like that, but they're actors. And I'm like, are you serious? I don't know what you're taking, but I want some of it. Because honestly,
Right.
I mean, seriously, you say that my cousins that stay in Australia and Sydney and Melbourne and stuff like that don't exist. They're
I know,
actors.
like, what is with the? I don't get some of the logic behind people. You know, we're going to like this Idaho thing. They're saying that the only evidence that Idaho actually exists is Idaho potatoes, and yeah, and it's like, what about the movie Napoleon Dynamite?
That's something I've always
That was
wanted
filmed
to
here in
know.
Idaho.
That's right. It was Napoleon Dynamite. Was film? That's right. I forgot about that.
What about Aaron Paul? You know, the guy Jesse from Breaking Bad. He's from Boise.
I didn't get that, is he? I did not know that.
Aye. And here's one for you younger folks. What about the voice actor for Patrick Star?
Who's Patrick Star?
Spent quite a bit from SpongeBob.
Oh, right. That's your generation. We used to grow up watching SpongeBob SquarePants. I was never keen on that. I always wondered how they had the barbecues going underneath the water. I was one of the
Oil.
things.
You know, that was actually created by marine biologists.
Was that? I didn't know that. My niece Rebecca, she used to watch it. And you'd come into the house and you'd hear SpongeBob SquarePants lived under the sea, and that's what you would hear. Was that how can I have a global flat earth society? See, that's the thing, Dots. We are all actors right now. There'll be flat earthers watching us right now. They'll be like, aye, they work for the CIA. They're here to brainwash us. I heard one the other night how the aurora borealis was actually caused by the LED screen in the sky malfunctioning.
By the LEDs in the sky malfunctioning.
Yeah, I can how the flat earthers say there's a dome and how it's like a big TV screen, everything's projectable. Seemingly there was something wrong with the LED screen to cause that. Honestly, it's the idiots out there. They're everywhere. I mean, seriously, I'm always getting strikes. I'm surprised I've not been banned on TikTok, to be honest. It's maybe because I buy stuff off the shop. But I'm always falling out with somebody on TikTok. The sheer stupidity on there.
When aren't you falling out with somebody, man?
I know. It's a kind of hobby that I've got.
Yeah, you are one of those people who likes to set fires, then bitch when there's smoke.
No. I was good. Right. I was going to say this, right? I mean, the Flat Earth Society, come on, let's face it, they're all idiots. They can't, anybody that ever comes up against them to talk about anything, they either ban them or block them.
Mm-hmm.
If any day like scientist comes up, they'll ban them. They'll not let them speak. They'll not let them speak. The Earth isn't. Look, I do believe there is things on the Earth that we've not seen yet. I do believe there may be islands out there and stuff like that that's maybe hidden for some weird reason. But I think that. What was that?
That
Is
was
that
my
you?
sister dying in the other room.
Oh, that's all right. I was wondering. I thought you had an apparition of a woman there in the room next to you. But anyway, look, you've got to admit, the Flat Earth Society, they're all complete morons. They really are.
Yeah, it's and hey, flat earthers,
Well,
you want to come on the show?
they'll not come on there because they can that they'll lose.
I know. It's like, come on, plead your case.
Look,
That's all I gotta say.
they started going on about saying that the moon's out now and that's no normal. I can remember when I was 6 at the primary school in the morning looking up and seeing the moon. The moon's always out during the day. People don't realise it. It's always out during the day. It's just you can't really see it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's because of how the refraction of the Earth's atmosphere can actually cause it to look like it shows up.
That's what I did find interesting last. Right, see the aurora, those pictures that I showed you in the video that I put out. When I went outside to look at that aurora, I could see this weird whiteness in the sky. I couldn't see any colours. But when I held up my camera phone, I could see all the multicolours. And somebody was telling me, a scientist guy was telling us, seemingly there's something in your eye can't really pick up what's really happening. It's actually the sensor in the camera that picks it up better. Well, that's what I was told. But I was like, holy shit, that's I've never seen it like that.
Here's the thing. When a lot of people don't realize when the auroras actually reach the latitudes that say we're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
They say that's actually a bad sign.
Yeah, I know.
That it's not supposed to come this far down.
No.
So we're kind of at the tail end of it. So that's why it's a little harder to see some of the colors. The further up north you are, you be able to see some of the colors clear as you're right where all the solar radiation is getting dumped off into the Earth's atmosphere. But yes, the time lapse and night mode on your cameras are usually what you need in order to see the full color.
I'm going to say this, where you said it's usually a bad sign seeing the aurora this far down. Pardon me. I've heard people that worked at Aberdeen and worked in Norway and stuff like that, and they've seen this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've never ever seen it. But I've never experienced anything. I was talking to somebody the other day there, and they were 70s that's lived in the village all their life, and they're like to me today, they're like, I've never seen anything like that. That is a bad sign. Now, is it because the poles are meant to be flipping and we're losing the magnetic field around the Earth? Is this why we're seeing it?
They do speculate that the poles of the Earth are getting ready to flip. And that could very well be part of it. But the last time we've actually had a solar storm reach that magnitude, they say was about like 20 years ago. And I remember back then, because you had to kind of get to like at least a second story building and with a good view, unobstructed view of the north to be able to see them. But to see them like we did, we're going to see a lot more of that, actually.
Yeah, that's what's worrying me. I mean, there's dots saying higher solar activity. Do you ken that actor? Is it Dennis Quaid's squad? You ken who I'm talking about?
Aye.
He actually did a video, about a year ago, and he was actually going on about this. He was saying that if there is like a G5 and up solar flare, it'll fry absolutely everything. Your phone, everything.
It only goes from a G1 to a G5. That storm was a G4.
See, that makes you wonder, is there a Meridian on its way?
Possibly. And there's very little that can be done.
I mean, the last time there was a massive... What was the Carrington event? What was the Carrington event? What size was that? Was that a G5?
The which one event?
It was the Carrington event, and it was before we started really using technology. It's when it's seemingly all the transmission poles which came for the Morse codes and stuff like that, they all burst into flames and stuff. What was it? I clearly said Dots has got at the Carrington event. When was that about? Yeah.
The Carrington event was about the 1st and 2nd of September in 1859. I'm actually looking it up right now.
And it seemingly set fire to all the communication poles, and that's when we were just starting to use, like, you know, sending messages through like communications, and they all burst into flames. And they said if we had technology at that time, it would have been wiped out.
It would have.
Yeah.
It would have, without a doubt. In fact, I mean, have you seen any? I actually had some weird shit starting to go on as it was starting to become visible here. But have you had any weird tech issues on your end?
I've had, strangely enough, the Xbox. I was playing that the other night just for something during the day, and it was fine. It was absolutely fine. But I noticed I was playing Elite Dangerous, and I could only play on single player because the multi-tier servers were down. I looked it up, and it was something to do with the solar flare. But I'll tell you what, I did lose my 4G. It kept going off and on and off and on and off and on yesterday.
It was weird. While I was outside watching the storm, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning for me when I finally managed to get my ass out of bed. You know, it was you and a couple other people all over the place. You know, we were all kind of swapping photos with each other, just kind of catching what we were getting. And it was weird because some people were sending me messages through Facebook Messenger. The messages would come through.
Yeah.
You would have that little pop-up that shows you first like few sentences. But I go to open it, Facebook Messenger would go to crash.
Yeah.
It would be like, I've never talked to that person before. The conversation was still going. We were still able to send stuff to each other. A couple people were wanting to call me out. I'm just like, shit's getting kind of weird, but that might not work.
I was told that the military were experiencing problems. I ken some that was in the military and that, and they were telling me they were experiencing problems with their satellites and stuff. But
GPS
obviously,
satellites are usually one of the first things to get hit.
Yeah. And I don't know. I didn't experience that much of a problem. But to be honest with you, I mean, it was crazy. It was 11:30 at night when I sent you these pictures, right? I went outside and I turned my security lights, kept coming on, so I had to turn them off. And I looked round about me, and I'm not joking yet, I could see people at every single door of their house. Everybody was out. Everybody was out. And they all had their phones. And they were looking at it, they were taking pictures, and I'm going to say, right, I've seen the aurora once in my lifetime, and that was when I was, I think it was 16 or 17 years old, but it wasn't even as intense as that. It was maybe a wee bit purple in the sky, right? That was far out. That was like, you ever seen the film The Knowing? That very depressing film, The Knowing? You get the one I'm talking about?
Nicolas Cage one?
Nicolas Cage one, aye, where the Earth gets destroyed in the end. Aye, well, that was that. I do think I think it's going to get worse. Because they've been warning about this for a long time. Could you imagine the devastation? And you ken how much devastation there'll be if the power grid goes out in the US for 6 months?
Just within 24 hours. People don't realize how thin of a line that we walk with our reliance on technology. GPS satellites go out for a certain amount of period. They're constantly calculating changes in the Earth's gravity, tectonic plates, relativity, because of how time moves differently above the atmosphere of the Earth as compared to down here on the ground. The slightest miscalculations, chances are you're going to have planes crashing in that are on autopilot. Phones are gonna act a little buggy. People will think, oh, it's gonna be, they're saying, this place I'm going is only like 2 feet to the right of where it actually is. No big deal. It's a big deal when you have such a reliance on GPS technology, especially when it comes to transport systems and electric vehicles, as a matter of fact.
Well, this is quite interesting. I watched a program on this the day. Right, it was actually last night, couldn't sleep. And see if we had a really strong flare like a G5, right? They're actually saying that. Do you know the devastation in the US alone? If the power was out for 6 months, half the population of the United States would be dead within 6 months.
Easily.
Yeah, because you've got farm and agriculture, you've got everything's controlled by computers, right? But it's not just that. Everything would fail. My smartwatch, my Apple Watch, my iPhone, the iPad, the TVs, everything in your house would fry. Anything with a microchip in it would fry. But here's another point that it just popped into my head the new there, and I forgot all about this. Remember before when we've had strong solar flares, we've always seen big earthquakes.
Yeah.
That was a big solar flare. So are we about to see the San Andreas fault or a big earthquake about to happen?
It's actually quite possible. Officially, there's no correlation between any weather phenomenon and earthquakes, officially. But when you really think about it, all these planets are reliant and react to the sun's energy output. We see it all the time.
Yeah.
So if something gets charged just right, we could see major activity very soon.
See, that's what I'm thinking about. Because
Within the week, maybe.
yeah. So that's what see. Everybody thinks, oh, the technology's got to go in that, but what if it's something more sinister? What if it's doing something to the core of the planet right now, or this radiation that's coming off the sun? And what if it causes something?
The planet would still be here. Our reliance
Oh,
on technology, how do I put this? Our illusion of control over the natural elements. That is what would cause the chaos.
I mean, if that happened, a massive solar flare, that you've got to remember there will be countries that will survive. There will be countries that will survive that initial EMP burst because they're obviously in the dark side of the earth when it happens. If you think about it, right? They'll still get some of the stuff, their satellites and all that will get wiped out and stuff like that. But let's just say China, for instance, say they survived, they would be the new dominant superpower on the planet. Vice versa. If China get hurt in America, you know what I mean? I think we're coming. Something's about to happen. I think it's only a matter of time. I bet there'll be either a volcano or a big earthquake this week sometime.
Earthquake is the most likely scenario. But why you always gotta be so doom and gloom, man?
Because it's always happens. It always happens. I mean, what we've got to say is like you've got to wake up one morning. There's got to be fairies
like
dancing about your garden. Like it's going to happen. But maybe in Scotland or whatever, I'll be all right unless there's a 2 mile high tidal wave, and then I'm fucked.
I mean, for fuck's sake, you guys are a lot closer to the sea level than I am.
No, I'm actually high above sea level. I'm 2,000 something feet above sea level. I'm
almost
fine.
3,000 to 4,000.
Oh, you'll be fine then. You'll be fine then. It's people that live in the lowlands and stuff like that. You know, get your life jacket out, go to bed with a wee whistle and a flashy light. You'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll say that. They always say San Andreas fault line goes. Idaho's going to be become beachfront property. Oh wait, we don't exist.
I know a guy that works in Los Angeles, and he's a friend of relation. And under his bed, he keeps a bag of tools. He keeps a hammer and a chisel. And I'm like, why do you keep a hammer and chisel? And he says his bed's actually designed. So you see if the house collapses around it, it will protect him. And it's in case he gets trapped under the rubble so he can chop his way out. That's what it's for.
Yeah, a lot of high-end houses in areas like California have stuff like that. They have earthquake kits.
Yeah.
They have like little storage areas full of water, canned goods, stuff like that, batteries.
Hmm.
Areas like that would probably be able to survive for a little bit of time. But that's the thing. We've had solar activity on the Earth before, and yes, it's caused some major effects, but humanity did survive.
With that, I mean, right. I mean, would it be? I mean, right. Look, let's face it this way: the earthquakes happen, but all of Facebook goes down. You see what happened a couple of months ago when Facebook went down for what, the day?
Yeah,
Folk were running about having mad panic attacks. Now, oh my god, I can't go, I
yeah.
can't post my dinner.
Everybody was freaking out, thinking that they got hacked and all that fun shit.
But can you imagine it? I mean, everything is dependent on the internet now.
It is, but
It's ridiculous.
but that's the thing. The illusion of control is what will put us in danger first.
Yes.
The thing
Would
that
it be
that mankind is number one. That's always what's going to put you in the most danger.
No. Look,
Yeah.
it is going to happen. It's just a matter of when and how long it's going to be before it happens. If it goes down, nothing will work. But eventually they'll get the power back up again. It might take a wee while, but they will get the power back up again. But by that time there'll have been civil wars and bloody folk running about having nervous breakdowns because they can't get on TikTok. And
we'll see the breakdowns about TikTok first before we see Civil War, man.
I don't know, man. I mean, they keep playing that Civil War thing now. They keep putting it out there, and different shows are doing it. Civil War, this Civil War, that Civil War, this, all that.
Okay, and
I don't know if there's subliminal messaging in that or something like that. I mean, I don't think there has got to be a civil war, right? But the way the world has gone now, we're fighting all over it. Get what I mean? But see, this is what I worry about too. Like, say there's a big solar flare, right? And it knocks out all the military satellites. Then you have the problem. The Americans can't see the Russians or the Chinese. The Russians and the Chinese can't see the Americans, and then they think something's going on, and they fire something that they shouldn't. You see where I'm going with this?
Okay. It's happened before.
I know it's happened before, but I just don't know if the human race could maybe survive an event like this because we are too dependent on our technology.
Well, humans could be able to survive, without a doubt.
Yeah, but
it's the morons that go bug out every 5 seconds that's going to end up dead first.
I will say this: there's so many preppers. Have you seen all the preppers that you get?
Dude, I'm from Idaho. We got nothing but preppers and Ku Klux Klan. I wish I was joking.
You still get the Ku Klux Klan? I thought they were kind of like dying out. You still?
No, we got Klan. We have Klansmen. We got neo-Nazis. Apparently, I went to school with one.
So there you go. So Idaho doesn't exist, but it's full of Nazis and Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah. Especially when you go more towards northern Idaho, near all the Canadians.
There's my brother in the chat there. But see, this is what a lot of people see these electric cars too. Oh my god! All these self-driving cars.
I would not want to be in one of those during one of these events. I mean, think about it. You have an electric car fire that most fire departments basically just cordon off the area and let the thing burn out by itself because there's nothing they can do.
No.
There's nothing they can do to really put it out.
But you think about it, if all the communications are done, they don't even care it's happening. In some of the big cities, they'll just need to leave it.
Exactly.
They just but I mean, these self-driving cars, they use the GPS and all that. I mean, if that starts to go unaware, it could start having accidents, serious accidents, driving off cliffs and into water and stuff like that.
No, like I said, these geomagnetic storms, they would throw it off just by that much. But that's the thing. Those constant calculations. I mean, think about it. Say, it's something that humans do by themselves. They know the layout of their house. They know where roughly things are, to where they're not going to bonk into them. Somebody goes to shift it, and the other people aren't paying attention. People are going to start walking into it. That's essentially what's going to happen with a lot of these electric cars. Yes, they may be shifted by that much. By that much, maybe where a building is, where a child is trying to cross the street, just trying to get to school.
I did see something interesting on the program I was watching about. They were going on about if the United States lost the power for, say, 6 months. And this is the real danger. And it's not just the United States, it's everybody that's got a nuclear power station. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? When there's been like a failure in a nuclear power station, a power failure in a nuclear power station, it's got backup generators that keep the pools of water with all the spent fuel rods cool, right? And on average, every nuclear power station, there's enough fuel to keep that going for a week. But if society starts to break down, they can't get the fuel, there is going to be meltdowns unless they prioritize like getting fuel to those power stations to keep them going. You imagine what a meltdown would do?
Yeah.
The devastation.
I'm well aware, dude.
We're just too reliant. We're too reliant.
One of my
They've
aunts
made
actually works at the nuclear reactors here in Idaho.
Really? That's wow.
Yes, I have a relative that plays with nukes all day.
You know, get like a guided tour and say, this is the reactor, and go up to it and touch it and all that. I says, I can't feel any radiation. I'm about fine. I'm away home. You can actually swim where the rods of the reactors are kept. You know that? Everybody thinks it's actually safe. It's only when they start heating up, they get into a meltdown and bad things happen. Hey, Jenny, good to see you in the chat. I think we've lost Dakota. You there, Dakota? Look at that face pose that he's got, guys. Oh my God. It's the reactor core's got him. Yeah. So do you, out of curiosity, Dakota, do you have a bug out plan saying you're in a country that doesn't exist? Well, a state that doesn't exist. I think the CME is affecting his internet, dudes. Does he look really happy there, didn't he? I need to take a picture of that. There we go. Oh, I got that picture there, ladies and gentlemen. That's a cracker. I think he's having technical problems. Dakota! I'm on. What was that? I'm one in my NA that had not seen the lights, but it's amazing thunderstorm. Aye, the thunderstorm. I can hear it now outside my window. It's absolutely I don't care. Like honestly, Dakota. Honestly, if there's a, honestly, I don't give two fucks if there is a. Honestly, if everything goes up in flames, get what I mean? Because it's. I think we're needing to learn. Now. I know, but I think we're needing to learn to try and rely on technology. I can just see it in a couple of weeks' time after it's all happened. Well, I miss my phone. My phone. TikTok.
Yeah, Mr. iPhone everything.
Oh, so what? I like my iPhone. You're
Mr.
jealous.
Mr. Apple, Apple everything. What are you gonna do? What are you going to do?
I've got a big stack of books in the corner over there. A packet.
Yeah,
tentacles. Sure. There's nothing wrong with tentacles. There's nothing wrong with tentacles. What's that tentacle problem? See, that's Dots. He's had an experience with the aliens with the tentacles. So you're just jealous because you've no experienced that yet. What's that? I videoed it because I had a little fear of I could not. My back door, lost my voice, calling my daughters to close it. I do like a good thunderstorm. I really do like a good thunderstorm. I've been caught out a few times in a thunderstorm. He's gone.
Oh, I'm not.
Oh, he's back. Why does it say that your mic's muted? That's weird, that.
Why does it say that you've been muted since the beginning of the show? So disappointing.
Iron here, crazy cleaning at
Yeah.
2:30 p.m. There's not a bit. It's good to clean your house. Yeah, I mean. So, out of
it's all
curiosity, to
good.
go, what's your opinion? What's your predictions for the summer and the winter coming? Do you think we're going to see any more?
No. We're going to see
No.
exactly what we're going to see. I don't know. But the thing is, it's not going to be all doom and gloom, dude.
We're doomed. Doomed to tell you.
You're the one that's preaching about that shit.
Mark my words. If the internet goes down, society
I was about to say,
breaks up.
maybe you should
it's
look
his
into some
fault.
of those. Maybe you should start looking into some affiliate programs that some of those doomsday preppers offer, so you can earn some money. Wow, he goes like, "Oh, it's all gonna end. It's all gonna end."
I know.
Oh,
I'm going to say
God,
this.
If Xbox ever goes down,
Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna need a new co-host.
Oh my God! No, don't do that to me. Don't say those bad words to me.
Already starting.
That's not. I can go 3 days, 4 days without my Xbox. I'll be fine.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, but it's I don't know. I just believe something else is about to happen. I just believe this is the start of something. They've been warning us all for a long time about CMEs and stuff like that. I think this is the beginning of something. Might be totally wrong. Nothing might happen. I hope nothing does happen. Okay, I mean, but then again, mark my words. Dakota will be doing a live stream with a candle. You'll not be doing anything. You'll just be sitting with a candle on. You'll not get gas for your car or nothing.
Mark your words. Mark your words. My goodness, man. Why you gotta be all so doom and gloom?
I'm going to say this. There's too many doomsday preppers on YouTube.
Agreed.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely, and they're always crying wolf. It's like the story of the boy who cried wolf. Oh, this is that. Russia's attacking Ukraine. 2 months later. Oh, we're doomed. It's like every day there's an apocalypse. Oh, if you buy my book, it will save you. The world's going to end tomorrow, but I think you should buy my book.
I do not have enough time, patience, and crayons to stitch together the number of times you've come on this show preaching that exact bullshit, man.
But come on, but as it's true. It's true. It's the boy who cried.
Okay, I'm saying you're talking just like the doomsday preppers.
I'm talking like the doomsday preppers.
Now,
do I
believe people should prepare in the event certain things happens? Of course. Yeah, I grew up in a small town. Practically, practically just missing a couple banjos away from being the American South. Yeah, we have candles stashed around the house just in case of a blackout all the time.
Yeah. There's Christy saying, did the Simpsons predict this? No, the Simpsons, did they know they predict a nuclear war? They predicted the black hole 10, didn't they?
Yeah, the Simpsons predicted that the black hole would suck everybody to another alien world. And you should always have supplies prepared in the event something happens, especially if you're in an area that's prone to fires, earthquakes, floods.
Yes. But what I'm going to say
zombie cicadas.
What I'm going to say is this. Do you really want to prepare for a nuclear war? Do you want to survive a nuclear war? Because you'll not live for long. Even once your food runs out, you're screwed, basically. I think Dakota's been took again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's read a bit of the chat here, but you should always be prepared. I see you should be prepared with stuff for like maybe minor things. But when it comes to like mega disasters like nuclear war or stuff like that, there's only the super rich can really survive that with their bunkers. Ladies and gentlemen, he's gone again, once again. He's gone again. But what's that, Kirsty? But you should always see, right, Kirsty, what have you prepared for? Have you prepared for like an earthquake? Have you prepared for tsunami? I mean, let's face it, Would you want to survive a nuclear? I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm waiting for him to come back in.
I've been here for a while. That was weird.
No, you weren't. You weren't here.
Yeah, I
You
was.
just disappeared.
Yeah, I was.
Yes,
I was here.
that's happening.
Now, what
That's
was
gonna
the
happen.
weird thing before I kicked us both out was that I would start to hear my own voice being played back to me. That was weird.
Iron Fire Horse, you got zapped.
Yeah, I've been
There's
zapped.
Kirsty, we are going to burn up in the earthquake. I mean, I'm going to say that San Andreas, that has got to go one of these days. That's got, and it's that Yellowstone, I know, next to you, Dakota. If that goes, you're going to need a good set of curtains in your window. That's what I'm going to say.
No, I'll be safe. I'm in high ground.
No, I'm talking about if Yellowstone blows.
Oh, Yellowstone blows. Yeah, I'd be a goner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the blast zone.
I mean, that's a super volcano, isn't it? I mean, that's if that goes, it'll cause another ice age, basically a nuclear winter.
Yeah, and humans can survive the ice age too, Mr.
Yes,
Tentacle
that's very
Strap-off.
true because we survived it once before. I mean, well, that's what they said we did, but
It's been done.
we just need to rebuild civilization. I just need to rebuild civilization. Hopefully, the civilization after that will not be a complete idiocy like the ones we've got right now. You know?
Yeah, just look in the mirror.
There's Kirsty says, I worked on the top of the San Andreas fault. I mean, that would be epic. I mean, I'm going to say
It's
this.
California, though. They got earthquakes on the daily.
See, everybody keeps saying that the big one's coming. The big one's coming. It will happen eventually.
To quote Robin
I don't think it's going to happen for hundreds of years.
That's not the big one. The big one could happen anytime. It could happen tomorrow, and it could, or 5,000 years from now.
Aye. Who were you quoting there?
Robin Williams.
You sounded nothing like him.
I know that was a horrible impression.
You sounded more like oh Christ. In fact, you sounded diabolical. Robin Williams' ghost's going to hit you out of the head tonight with a big slap because he does not sound like that.
Well, he did when he did that voice for that bit.
Dear Lord, take me away. Take me away. But come on, I mean, Yellowstone's an interesting place. I mean, did you?
Yeah, no, we should take it to it someday.
I'd love to go to Yellowstone. I would like to go to Yellowstone, actually. I'm not getting into the Forbidden Valley or whatever it's called either. I'm afraid that's not happening.
No, it's not called the Forbidden Valley.
No, I've just called it that because what's it called then?
It's called the Zone of Death.
The Zone of Death. So you can legally kill somebody in the Zone of Death and get away with it.
No, you can't legally kill somebody.
So,
It's just that because Yellowstone is technically under Wyoming's jurisdiction. That particular stretch of Yellowstone happens to fall inside the Idaho border. That's where the issue comes into play. It's a legality issue. They've been trying to fix it, but
is MD actually murdered MD?
Several people go missing around that area, as a matter of fact.
Well, guys, Dakota's doing a big bus trip to there. I'm going to stay back at the hotel, and I'll wait for you to come home.
Oh, don't worry. Just don't touch the bison.
See that? They're quite an impressive creature, the old bisons. So I'm just reading the chat. They've been saying the West Coast is going to fall into the Pacific. Yeah, it's nearly almost 100 years now. You're right, it is. But can you imagine how spectacular that would be? And the death toll.
You wouldn't be able to count it officially.
Who's the other super volcano in the US? It's no Yellowstone. It's another place. Where is it?
Another super volcano.
Aye, seemingly it's no, sorry, it's not a super volcano. There's a volcano in is it Nevada? Where is it? I'm thinking about. You kind of what I'm talking about. It's famous for you changed my name again. That's terrible. It's famous for their hot springs in California. I seen something about it. It was on National Geographic. Colorado was an ocean at one time.
Yeah, it was. Why
So
you
was
can
Scotland.
find what? That's why you can find whale bones in the middle of Colorado.
That's right. I've heard about that.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the oldest continent on Earth?
You're just jumping random shit today. My
I'm
God.
just saying that the oldest continent on Earth. It's quite interesting. Lewis actually, he's in Spain and he found a weird bones something the other day there. It's quite interesting. I'll need to send you the pictures. But I do believe there's been disasters on this world, like the Carrington event, right? And I do believe it's going to happen, but I don't know when. Hopefully it'll not happen for 1,000 years. But and then you get the earthquakes. I don't know when that's going to happen. But I do think that the sun can manipulate earthquakes. I definitely think that. And I'm telling you, this week or next week, there's got to be an earthquake somewhere in the world. A big one. I found a fossil what looks like us. See, he's away again, ladies and gentlemen. The Idaho doesn't exist, and this is the space-time continuum. Change my bloody name. Dear. Terrible. He's terrible. Changing my. Where is he, guys? He's not there. This is crazy. It'll not let me change my name now. See this, honestly. Oh my God. Honestly, Dakota, sometimes I really do wonder about you. You can't hear it, guys, but when people join, it says your name out in the microphone. Oh, honestly. Honestly, Dakota, I just don't know. So when you go to tell us something interesting, Dakota, and I'll stay quiet for a wee up
I was just gonna say, I was gonna talk about the fact that we were getting some of the craft that I was getting during the auroras, man.
See, that's the thing. I got that picture for Scottish Outlooker. What was your opinion on that? Do you really think it was a reflection of the lights, street lights?
Maybe. I haven't had a chance
Well,
to give it a proper look yet.
I mean, what did you see? Like, tell us, do tell.
I actually have photos.
Oh, do you? Can you show them?
I do. I
Right,
do.
I mute my mic.
Now, mind you, obviously, looking at the auroras nighttime, I had it on night mode on my phone, and my hands are nowhere near as stable enough as I would like them to be in order to do that type of stuff. But there'd be something interesting, right? So I got 3 photos where I was watching something in the sky, trying to take pictures of all the colors, right? Let's see if we can blow this up real quick. Right, see. Now, typical, all the lights moving in the same direction, so you can expect that as hand movement from the night mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what we'll do, mainly focus right here in the center. Come on, you son of a bitch.
The computer's getting old.
All right, see, right here. Something changes direction. I only managed to get.
I see something there. Has Dakota been lost again? No, he's back.
I
I
didn't
see
do
something
it.
there actually. Oh, I was away zooming up there too. Honestly, you can't make this stuff up, guys. Honestly, everybody's eye was
What the
getting kicked.
fuck?
Eye was something going on. Honestly,
Jesus.
don't call me Jesus, Chris all day.
Oh, son. Oh dear Lord.
Ah, this is what happens.
The fucking figures that the second I actually pull out the photos that I caught, something happened.
That's what it is. There's a guy in the news saying, right, wiggle the wires. He's showing booties.
No, with my own eyes, I believe I saw at least 7 different craft.
Wow.
It was active as hell that night.
See, that's
what's up?
it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if that affected them in any way. The UFOs, obviously no, because they're shielded and stuff like that. Do you think it's
Well,
maybe done something to show them?
from what I've gathered, the reason why, and I know a lot of people were actually reporting a lot of spikes in activity, not just ET related, but dealing with spirits and even psychic phenomenon as well. There's something about the solar activity, specifically how strong it got. I think there's a pretty good chance it actually weakened the veil out the flares were hitting.
Well, it's what Michelle said yesterday, how it's weakened the veil it's thinned the veil for the spiritual world.
But
So
it's not. That's not all mutually exclusive. Across all the density.
It's interesting.
So anything that happened to be flying by may have gotten an inch, may have had a nice little power.
Nope.
It goes to make kind of a morbid example, a morbid thought I've had on the show before. Makes you wonder what would happen if we would bring nuclear material into a haunting.
That's actually really interesting. That what would happen? Like, but you talking like plutonium or uranium?
Yeah, I'm serious.
It would make you wonder.
The thoughts of Dakota's brain.
I mean, it makes you wonder. I mean, what could the spirit achieve? What could it do? But could it use the energy for that?
And here's another thing. All right. What would happen to a spirit if an EMP were to go off?
That's interesting because spirit use electromagnetic. Would it kill it? Well, it wouldn't kill it because it's already dead, but would it?
I mean, think about it. We have areas like Chernobyl, right? There's even activity around the power plant that failed in Japan that's been reported. UFO spirits. And by all accounts, those spirits seem to be fairly strong.
Chemistry, and I know you can buy it. You can buy a wee. Is it plutonium? It's very, 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 very small radioactive disc, and it will not do you any harm. You can actually buy them
Plutonium
for
would.
I'm talking about
but
this.
you
No plutonium.
get certain. You can get certain isotopes of uranium for like testing Geiger counters and stuff like that.
There's dots. You'll create a nuke ghost. But it's true what you say. I wonder if that would do anything. Because spirits like to drain the energy of like electrical devices. So I wonder if it could drain the energy of something radioactive that's putting off like energy.
Oh, Louise, myself and Jenny will trial it out.
Yeah, go look at his island.
I don't know if I would want Jenny with nuclear material.
I'll be fine. Be fine.
I don't know if I would trust Jenny with nukes.
I'll be fine. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly
go wrong? Well, first off, they
wrong?
could end up with haircuts like us.
That's very true. I mean,
then we could actually get our hair back.
I mean, it'd be interesting. You can actually buy. I've seen it. It's quite expensive, but it's a wee metal disc, and inside it there's a nuclear material, and it's sealed. And they test Geiger counters with it, right? I wonder if you take that to like an investigation and sat it next to like the EMF, what would happen?
You wouldn't want to set it off next to an EMF because it would essentially contaminate any potential interactions you would get from spirit. You would want to set the meter away from it
I know where
because
you
it's
can actually
still
get.
electromagnetic radiation. Get it
Actually,
on fucking
I know where you can actually get
Amazon.
safe. I know where you can actually get safe
Yes, ladies and
radioactive material. Yeah, actually, I do know where you can actually get safe radioactive material. Smoke alarms.
True. I'll
Inside the
just bring a
smoke
load of
alarm, there's
bananas. Oh, God. Don't get Chris started on bananas, Louise.
bananas. I like bananas. Dakota likes a banana tea.
Hey, I still have the thumbnail I made for one of Elena's interviews.
Well, I'm
where
going
you
to. I'm
had the
going to say
banana
this
in
now.
your mouth.
I'm going to say this now. I
still
did
have
that
that
because
saved.
I did that, and Pete, if you're watching it, that was your dad that did that to me. Your dad put out a picture of him eating a banana, and I couldn't resist it. You show that, and honestly, the what you call it, Idaho will only exist after tonight.
Oh,
But
for
no,
God's
you
sake!
can get some.
I'm not afraid of the Scottish. All they do is really bitch.
We don't. What about the Irish? What do you think about the Irish? I'm just waiting for this. I'm just thinking.
Very hilarious people.
Choosing words wisely there, I see. Choosing words wisely. But it doesn't look. You ever heard the uranium glass?
Oh yeah, if you get your hands on a little black light flashlight and head to like a
Yeah.
secondhand shop, you can probably.
Nope. Dakota. I think he's been abducted again, guys.
Not again. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like.
You keep disappearing. We can't hear
Bald
you.
and Bonkers Network LLC and Bonkers Show are not legally responsible for any stupid mistakes you do from obtaining your radioactive substances. There we go.
I'm going to say, is this the old style smoke alarms used to be radioactive? And see, the old microwaves, inside the old microwaves, and be very careful, ladies and gentlemen, when opening a microwave, taking it apart because you can still get electrocuted. But there's a part inside it that gives off radiation. There you go. That's
again,
right, Iron Firehorse.
Please do so at your own risk.
Uranium glass.
Oh yeah.
It's been again. Oh God, this is so funny. God, you can't even make this stuff
Oh
up. Honestly,
God,
guys,
why does it keep coming up as chicken
called me
fecker
bear
for me? Hey, you're the one that started that mess. Come on, we gotta bring back.
I don't know what's wrong.
Hey, we're not trying to do shows when the air's still magnetized solar flares. So
Chris Muller rest in pieces or something.
Fuck. I was trying to change it back to some normal for you. My God.
Oh God, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I need a holiday. Where can I go my holidays? Fukushima is meant to be nice at this time of year. They say it's really quiet.
That would require you actually getting out.
I do. I've got my passport. My passport's on its way, so I need to wait. A complication with my passport.
What? Too ugly for this photo?
No, it's because when I sent away my mum's certificate with the passport, and then she passed away, and then we'll carry on, so we'll have to get it done again.
I need to get mine renewed.
Aye, so yeah, it's Yeah, you never. I'm surprised you don't have like a. I would like to see all the space stamps in your passport get up and down all the time.
I get to go for
Yeah.
free.
I
Dual
gets to go for
citizenship.
free. You know, if I could go anywhere, I would go to Scotland and Ireland. Ireland
I
and
would highly
Scotland.
recommend it, Iron.
You see, they're looking this monster. He
Some
said
of
with his
my
own eyes.
some of my happiest memories were on that trip.
The Iron Brew, the Flat
The
Earth
Iron
sign,
Brew,
and
the
the Loch
Loch
Ness
Ness
monster.
Monster.
Hey, the new. Hey, see,
I
but I want to go to America on my holidays.
Yeah, you think Scotland's bad about political correctness? You'd get lynched over here.
Do you think so? I was going to
Probably.
wear a t-shirt that says "I love Donald" or something on it, or something like that. I mean,
Well, it depends on what state you go to.
I was actually thinking about North Carolina. I'm going to see my pal Muzzy. Yeah.
I don't know if you would want to go to that area anytime soon because the zombie cicada broods are going to be emerging here soon.
Oh, that's right. That's the flying insect things. Why are they called the zombie cicadas?
Well, this one in particular, apparently there is a sexually transmitted disease amongst the cicadas that actually causes zombie-like behavior in them, to where not only do they eat basically every plant that's in the area, but they start to eat each other.
Bugger.
So yeah, those things get nasty.
Oh well, then you don't really need to worry because they'll eat each other.
They're trying to say that that particular virus is just one mutation away from being able to infect humans.
Knowing your luck, you'll wake up one morning in a state that doesn't exist, and you'll see zombies running up and down the road.
That's called the fentanyl overdose.
Dude,
our hospital was in the fucking lockdown yesterday.
Was it? Why?
Active shooter.
Oh God.
Turns out it was a guy just detoxing.
Look, I'm going to say that fentanyl thing's diabolical. I've been watching the people driving through. Is it Detroit? I don't think it's Detroit. It's another city in America, and it's horrendous. It's
Detroit,
absolutely
Chicago.
Out Chicago, that's what it was.
Several spots here in Idaho too.
Yeah. It's what's happening in the world's a terrible thing.
Yeah, I know I'm giving you grief about going all doom and gloom, but quite frankly,
He's been kidnapped again. Dakota. We have
happening in the world. We need a collapse.
We do need to collapse because everything's getting so expensive. I mean, for a gallon of petrol here, it's nearly £11. What's that? $16 for a gallon?
You know what I think we need to happen again?
What?
Remember a few years ago, I don't know if you got it over there but there was this social media protest that went around, right? Everybody was getting ticked off at gas prices. Or basically just for one day, nobody buy gas.
Yeah,
at all. And it worked. There's a stand-up comedian. His name is Christopher Titus, and one of his specials, he said, just for a couple hours, everyone just stop what they're doing. Don't work, don't drive anywhere, don't shop, nothing. Watch how much everybody on the top freaks out.
I don't know what's going to happen to this country that I'm in now. I'm not talking about Scotland, I'm talking about the United Kingdom. And this country has went to utter shit. Right. I mean, I've got my friend, I don't know if it's still in there, Blue. See, he moved to Spain, and see in Spain, everything's so much cheaper. So much cheaper. It was great when the pandemic gas was half the price, and it is now. Yeah.
And you didn't have to use as much because traffic was non-existent.
That's what I'm going to say, and I'm not going to mention the name, but this really annoys me. See how I didn't get the jibby jab? I see the people Pfizer have now withcalled their jab. Have you seen that?
Yep.
Because it causes blood clots. And they were all saying
It's
that we were
also
all
people, whistleblowers within Pfizer, also that Pfizer
yeah. Yeah.
actually got it. Yeah, it's
It's
funny
amazing how your reception's breaking up.
too, because everybody funny when you think about it, considering
Yeah.
and everybody
Yeah.
was having issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
AstraZeneca did pull theirs too.
Yep.
Where the hell are you at, Christy?
I think she's in Los Angeles. I think she's in the Los Angeles region.
From how she was talking, looked like she was at least on the same time zone as me.
Look, I kind of look at people that have died, and they've all died. Colorado.
Ah, nice.
That's meant to be an amazing
I'm
place
just
with the
curious.
mountains and stuff. But anyway, look, I kind of look at folk that passed away with that, and it wasn't. It was what they go kill them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's horrendous. What's that? It's over £6 here in my part of Canada, and that is cheap actually for fuel.
You know, when
That
I
is
went to
actually
Florida last year, it kind of ticked me off that the gas was cheaper there in a bigger city as compared to what it is where I'm at.
well. It's interesting you say that, right? The local petrol station, gas station in my village, is £1.45 a litre because it comes in litres.
Yeah.
So if you work out how much that is for a gallon, right? But then if you go to the M74, which is the main artery motorway, there's a Shell service station there, and it's £1.89 a litre. But I'm going to say this: I don't know if the petrol station in my village isn't as good quality fuel, because when I get my fuel for down there, my car runs okay, right? Okay-ish. But when I buy it for the Shell petrol station, it goes like a rocket. Do you get what I'm saying here? It's like there's like maybe I've been put, I don't know, maybe I accidentally put in like that 5-star stuff that's it's designed for like racing cars, but it does make a difference.
Yeah.
I just think this country I'm in's had it. It's totally gone. Do you know they want to put the retirement age here up to, I think, is it 85?
Really?
80 to 85 retirement age.
Well,
You know
the
why that
argument
is? Because they
is
hope that you die, then keep your
true.
money.
True. The argument on official statements is that, oh, the people are healthier and living longer.
No.
In a way, yes.
No new after the thing we had, the Duke of Cold, or whatever it was called, where Forrest Gump called it. No new where everybody got the old that.
Yeah.
But I never got it. But I suffer for certain problems anyway. I'll be lucky if I'm here in 10 years. But I'm not caring. I mean, it's like
I need to get one of those world's smallest violins you see on like TikTok.
Anytime
Anytime you start up on that miserable shit, just go like.
I know. It's really that crazy. The Conservatives put it up to 67 here, and but the Liberals put it back to 65. Is that like dollars a barrel or something like that? Cents.
Yeah.
It's like use Americans have been getting it cheap for too long. These are going to have to join the era of the hybrid cars soon,
Like,
and it's going to happen.
do you realize here in the States? Do you realize how many people would have a lot of issues if we had to go through the motor inspections that you all have to over in Europe?
It's horrendous. It's horrendous.
We wouldn't be able to pull it off.
No, because 90% of your vehicles would go off the road by the end of the week.
Easily.
hmm hmm It's getting ridiculous here. They're actually the MOTs here is £85 for an MOT, but they're actually saying by 2026 the MOTs will be £400 to £500. That's just to see the garage. That's just to take your car in. They're trying to get everybody to get rid of their cars. They're getting rid of the road tax here. See how we have to pay road tax?
You were saying that they were replacing it with a tire tax.
No. The tire tax is still staying on. They're replacing it with pay per mile. So if you drive like a mile, it's 17 pence or whatever. But I don't know how they're going to implement that for the older cars. Maybe for the modern cars, there's something built in, GPS built in there. But I bet you somebody invents something that you can cover it up with. And you can drive and drive and drive and they don't know it's there.
There is a way. I'm told it's easier for older cars like mine, say as an example, which is a 95 Cadillac, but to where you can fudge the odometer a bit.
Do you know that your car in this country, because it's
Would
a
not be allowed
95,
on the road.
it would be allowed on the road?
No.
In the UK, if it's over 20 years old, right, you don't need road tax and you don't need the MOT. Madness, isn't it? But if you've got a modern car, a new car, you've got to get an MOT. Just get your head round about that. So if your car's new, you've got to get an MOT. But if your car's really old, it doesn't need it. See what I'm saying?
I'm sure they would
See what I'm
give
going
me
with that?
for all
It
the
should be
parts
it
issues
should be
that
that.
I have.
Oh, the parts, it's ridiculous getting parts. It's all the cheap Chinese shit for your cars now.
Not
And
even that. Most of the parts from my car are discontinued.
Aye.
I had to raid scrap yards.
Yeah. But it's the world we live in. They're trying to get rid of everybody's car. I was actually talking to somebody the other day there to get their car maps updated, and they were telling me that they work in the motor trade, and seemingly the government in the UK have passed a bill where they can kill your car by flicking a switch. Modern cars. Old cars like 2012s, mine's a 2012, that's fine. But cars for 2020, they can flick a switch and it kills it. It'll only start. See what I mean? It's just...
You have to take into consideration with everything that's being put into a lot of these newer cars, the safety features, all the fancy bells and whistles. That makes them more hackable.
Oh yeah. But see in the UK, I don't know if it's the same in the US, but see the Range Rover Sport, you know what I'm talking about, the new one. You can't get insurance for the Range Rover Sport here because it's so easily hackable. Somebody can stand outside the Range Rover Sport with a laptop, hack it, start it up and open the door and drive away in it with a laptop.
I think that's why the UK outlawed the they call them little flipper devices. They're like Tamagotchi hack devices. Yeah. I wanted to get my hands on one just to see what kind of chaos.
I would love
Dots. I drive a 95 Cadillac DeVille, an Uncle Buck car.
God.
Hey, it runs and I fit. That's all I care about.
Would you get about 14 miles to the gallon or something like that?
About 23, actually.
That's actually quite good, that. 23 miles to the gallon.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Yeah.
All the busted bolts and bits in it. It runs better than most people with the new cars.
It does. I was sitting in somebody's car one day. This is about a year ago. And I'm looking about and I'm like, what's that red button? And the guy next to me is like, I don't know. And it says SOS on it. I said, what's that do? So I pressed it. And all of a sudden it started going, warning, warning, we are phoning the police. We're phoning. That's
the roadside assistance.
And I thought, yeah, it was a roadside assistance. And there was a woman saying, hello, is there anything wrong? She said, I didn't get into this. So turned it off and it was fine. But
it's one of those things where you say, oh, sorry, The kid was fucking around with the buttons. I'm sorry. We're all good.
I'm lucky that my car doesn't have that. Maybe no, unless I drive over a ravine or something like that and I'm trapped and my phone's not working. But they're saying that any car that's got that, the government can turn your car off.
That wouldn't take much.
See, they want to bring in a law that allows police to actually stop your car if it's stolen. They could just flick a switch and the engine dies.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Then I imagine it'd be on the owner to get the repairs to turn it back on.
oh, there's people out here remap their engines. And it's to get rid of, see how you get cars that use AdBlue. You get what I'm talking about, the diesel cars that use AdBlue. They get their engines remapped so as they don't need the AdBlue. Do you get what AdBlue is? I didn't care the other day. It's pig's urine. That's what it is.
Seriously?
It's pig's urine. If you read the back, it tells you what's in it. Pig's urine.
People are putting pig piss in their car.
Yes.
The fuck?
Yes. Yeah. Do you know the E10 petrol? The E10 petrol. If you get a 5 gallon, if you get a gallon drum, right, a clear one, and fill it full to the neck with E10 petrol, half of that is petrol, the rest is water.
Yeah.
But iron firehorse, what's pig urine? Well, that's kind of self-explanatory. It's what a pig does, isn't it? It lifts its leg, it cocks
I know.
its leg.
Are they? I was like, are they being serious right now?
No, it's actually true. Look it up. It's pig urine.
No. I was thinking, I may have to once the show's over, but
yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah. So,
know.
did you have any shows planned for this week, man?
Yes, we did have a new class for Bonkers Network Academy coming out, and another episode of France in the Files. Seems like people are quite intrigued with everything I've revealed so far.
Yeah, so there you go. I've not watched it. Your last one was if it was like Coors beer. I don't know if folk can drink that stuff. I think it tastes bogging.
I don't know. I don't drink.
There they are.
Now they're taking the piss out of pigs. Oh God, we better end this show, man. We're going off the rails.
I would better go before we onk out. You know.
Okay, hold on. Who's the guest next week?
That we got. Oh fuck! Give me a minute.
What was her name? You forgot a woman's name, Chris?
Shh.
I wonder you're single.
I'll tell you something now. I've not forgot her name. I've just Claire Broad. She's a medium soul healer and spiritual teacher. There you go. I brought it up with that thing. I think Claire Brody. Sorry, I think that's what it is. You know.
On what day was that one?
I think it's Saturday. Is it not?
Well, it says we have her for the 25th, dude.
You sure?
That's what you have on the calendar.
Oh, that must be the right then. It must just be right then. Yeah, so it'll be the right. It'll be the calendar. Let me check. I'm getting old. Yep, Saturday the 25th. That is. Yep, no problem. So it's no next week. What do you want to do next week? Why don't we have an open panel next week and discuss the world, strange things, pig urine, clapping gators, tentacles, aliens coming from beyond, you know, all the kind of things.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah.
That does sound like a good idea, but I'll keep in touch with you because I can't remember what day it was, but I am needing out of town this week.
Unless you want to take this weekend off, Saturday and Sunday off. And
no, I've been invited to lantern thing for that officer that was killed over here.
Oh, right. No problem. Yeah.
I can't remember what day it is, though.
See, that's a terrible thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been great having you, but we're away now before we start talking about pigs and the Flat Earth Society.
We're already going
And
off on pig piss, so we may as well end the
pig
show now,
piss.
man.
I'm on to it anyway. I'm totally on to it tonight.
Yeah,
Cheerio.
I don't know. I got to work tonight, so
Yeah.
much love. Take care, and to all the mothers out there, happy American Mother's Day.
Aye, happy Mother's Day.
All right, much love. See y'all next.